Warning. The decision to begin keeping medically significant venomous should be made with deliberation, respect for the animals, and consideration for the community. A handler should acquire high-quality tools to enable safer handling, as well as a circumferential compression device just in case of a bite. We purchase our hooks, tongs, and venom lock from tongs.com. A keeper should be mindful. Requirements of care are more extensive in comparison to keeping non-venomous, and I do not condone handling by those who are not physically able-bodied, adequately experienced, clear of mind, or otherwise impaired. Furthermore, I recommend mentoring under a licensed venomous keeper for a minimum of 2,000 hours before attempting the act on your own, which many states require. Additionally, do not attempt to interact with any dangerous animals without an assistant, as this could potentially result in your death and enact a ripple of social and legal ramifications in your state and federal legislature. Deadly Tarantula Girl coming to you from my quarantine room. I'm here with John Fealy from Fealy's Clutch. He came back to my part of the country to get some more venomous handling. We're looking at my adult quarantine rack. We're going to clean a couple of my new blacktails before we head out to go do some herping. All right, how you feeling?
I'm ready.
I just filled you up with brisket tacos.
I know, it's delicious. A lot more calm. Like Good. I said last time.
Yeah,
don't drink energy drinks right before.
Thank you.
It kind of sets off your anxieties.
Obviously, don't drink alcohol, or even, it's funny, you wouldn't think that an energy drink, but it made you really jittery and anxious, didn't it? If you are less experienced, there's a tip for you. Don't overdo it on the caffeine.
Slow, smooth is fast, essentially. So just staying calm and making sure that we do it in a smooth manner and you're not freaking out is going to make it easier on the animal, make it easier on us, obviously. We kind of said that last time. I think it's with the repetition, obviously, just like anything you do in life, you're gonna become more smooth at the process. So.
Right. You have children, I have dogs,
Absolutely.
So step one, make sure that you're of sound mind, make sure that any little people or animals are clearly out of the way. Yes, some wild-caught rattlesnakes are...
Rattles.
Yes. All right. You feel good? Are you ready?
Let's do this.
All right. I have my large 55-gallon trash can that I use. I have my beautiful tub puller from Midwest Tongs. And then this is just a standard snake hook from Midwest Tongs. Always, safety first, making sure I have all my tools available. Of course, we have our safety kit handy. And since these are wild-caught rattlesnakes, I do have some handy-dandy grabbers here as well. Ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. So I do have my tub puller here, and this is an older rack that I have that's in my quarantine room, so if you want to hold that for me. Alright, so I'm going to trade tools with John, and I'm going to allow this animal to choose to hook if it wants to, and if it seems just too nervous, then I'm going to use the grabbers. So you just want to gently get about the midsection of the body. Make sure it's kind of balanced on there. Make sure that you have a hook that's long enough that you're able to hold the animal at a safe distance. And then once I see that it's down on the bottom, my beautiful assistant hands me the lid and we snap it on. We've modified this lid to where it has a plexiglass window so we can see where the animal is at all times. We do have some snakes that climb. So now that this animal is secured, we're going to clean out this tub really quick. So, what were your thoughts on that transition of seeing that wild-caught blacktail on that hook?
It went fairly smooth. I think there wasn't a lot of jitteriness from the animal itself. I know you're pretty calm about the whole process, which is great to see because when you're trying to learn, that kind of feeds off into me as well.
Right.
Watching the animal itself, though, you could see it was kind of skittish at first, and then it became accepting of what was happening. So it didn't try to. It wasn't flighty. Right away, which is a good sign. I know we had talked about it before we opened and started filming that there's a possibility with it being wild caught that it may just shoot out. And to be prepared. So to see it that calm was nice. I know not every experience will be that way. So.
Right. So this animal's been in captivity for 2 or 3 weeks, I think, and certainly not an animal I know. It's not the most difficult species, but it's certainly one that can pack a punch, one that you want to avoid being bitten by if any way possible, and one that you want to handle respectfully for sure. Alright, so the tub is clean. I slid it back into the rack. When you have venomous, it's very important for you to know how tight or how smooth your drawer is, because if you have something that's more dangerous, sometimes it's difficult if you keep it in a shelf that's really sticky or difficult to pull in and out. And so this is an older rack because this is just in our quarantine room. So that's something I'm aware of. Also, you want to make sure that your tub is closed as much as possible as it can be. So your snake will usually kind of try to like go into that little like burrow. But also you want it open wide enough that it's easy to get them in there. So depending on the snake, depending on the rack, you really want to kind of like weigh that out in your mind to carefully measure how you would not want a tub hanging way out, and you don't want to leave a really narrow opening where they're not going to want to go through there. So just something to think about. I'm going to look in my little window. This is not a climbing snake. Oh, look at that though. Actually the head is more than halfway up. So the head is on this side, so I'm going to open up. So I protected my body. And wow, look at you. Look at you. Yeah. I know, you're beautiful. That is a beautiful animal. So I'm just going to guide it in there. Should you? Nice and smooth. Alright, next tub. So this is another wild caught blacktail. And damn, this one is freaking hot. Have you seen this animal?
This is the first time I've seen it. It's freaking gorgeous.
Yes.
Huge too.
Yeah, you look like you're in a mood. Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. Wow, you're gorgeous. So this animal's a little heavier bodied, you can see, than that first one. And much lighter in color. Whew, dang, that's some weight right there. This is definitely an animal that's large enough to bite my hand from up here, even while its body, lower body, is all the way at the bottom. So that's something I'm gonna be watching. Oh, man. Oh, what'd you think about that one?
That one definitely had an attitude to it.
Yeah, and did you see the color though?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's almost it's anery.
Yes, it's possible. You never know when you see a specimen in the wild that's a little bit distinct. Might be some kind of new genetic. Alright, we've got this tub cleaned. Fresh water to put back away. So I'm looking in there. And that dude's all the way at the bottom. Ooh, you are gorgeous. Gorgeous. You're so beautiful. I know you're thinking, aren't you? You're thinking, aren't you? Here we go. Okay. So that was my 2 new wild-caught blacktails, cleaned and fed and watered. Are you like, whew, how do you feel? What did you think?
That second one was a little bit more intimidating. Not quite as smooth as the first one, obviously. There's a lot more girth to him, so he was able to kind of move the way he wanted to more.
Right. So I was kind of having to read his body language. I do have a hook that's a bifold hook with 2 prongs. So if I have a snake that's heavier bodied than that, I would have used that, like on a gaboon or a bigger gaboon, or even a rattlesnake that was bigger, because they're heavy. It'd be like trying to swing on dental floss or something once you get big enough. Definitely want to be thinking about the comfort and the safety of the animals, but I think that went really well.
It was very, even with both of them, it was smooth. One of the things I think worked well was it was all, as much as you don't want to be confined, like you definitely want an out while working with them, it was all in a very condensed space. So you didn't have to move a lot to get it into the tub or to initially get the animal itself or put it back. So the limitation of movement kind of helps with the process, I think. But always give yourself an out.
Yeah, definitely.
I was trying to stand back a little bit more just so that
you want to make sure that there's not something behind you that you're going to run into. You need to, if possible, keep stuff up off the floor, which is pretty easy in this room. This is our office. We just pretty much have our desk and a few racks in here. All of our racks are on wheels because stuff does get off the hook and get under there sometimes, and you have to be able to be mobile. And that was one thing we discovered a long time ago, is keep stuff on wheels. And that was fun. Do you have any words of wisdom for our audience?
Wisdom? Not too much. More thoughts or questions, I guess.
Okay.
What's like the signs you're looking for initially when you're reading an animal before you go in with the hook or the grabbers?
So most rattlesnakes have a defensive posture where they're going to kind of coil up. And that's when you know that they're preparing to strike.
Besides just the posture itself, I know with retics or some other pythons, because that's predominantly what I work with, right? The speed of the tongue flick or things like that are really big indicators on what they're thinking.
Well, I would say,
is that something you would see?
I don't watch the tongues as much as just the overall body language. And I actually do tap training with my venomous, just like I would a retic. So you're going to reach in there and you're going to touch them first. And if that's an animal that's flinching, jumping, you already know that they're already in an elevated stress level. And both of those animals seemed really calm. And so I decided to, they don't like being moved on grabbers. I wouldn't want to be. I would think they prefer to be hooked. They seem to, because with the grabbers you really have to hold them with pressure and kind of squeeze them and sort of manhandle them, which for safety sometimes that's necessary. But I like to hook them if they seem open to the idea. I don't know. I kind of read their body language and say, you know, are you going to accept this hook? And if they do, then awesome, because I prefer to do that. I feel like it's just a more comfortable transition. I'm really pleased. Both the animals look healthy and fat, and this was fun. But I'm thinking about going out and hitting the mountain. What about you?
I'm ready to go herping.
All right, let's go. Love you guys. See you later.